welcome back everyone to Kazamaza chess channel, the channel that shows you games for underrated chess players who actually beat 300 points above their rating. So if you have a game when you actually beat an opponent 300 points above your rating, feel free to send me your game and I will gladly show it on my channel. Sorry about that. So before I show you this game, for any one of you that didn't see my previous video, we are actually having a huge tournament in our team Cool and the Gang, and it's a Champions League tournament that holds so many strong players. Now I won't be showing all the games that are happening there because there are so many and there's so many players, and every day they are playing like 4 or 5 games, so it's impossible for me to show all the games, but I will try my best to show maybe the best games that to win the brilliancy prize. So yeah, but anyway, I will put the standings and the group and everything about this event and the result in the description below on the site, so feel free to check this out as well. And yeah, now let's check out this game. And this game is sent to be from one of my friend and team member, Creative Thinking, aka CT. Now I've already shown a game for CT here on my channel, and if you are new to this channel and you don't know who CT is, well, CT is a 13 years old boy from America, and he is, we call him our little monster, because this guy is really play chess and on a master level. So I will put the link on his profile in the description below. Also feel free to check his games and to follow him. You will learn a lot from him, as we all are doing this. Alright, and actually, in matter of fact, City just sent me a message today morning, and he reached 2300 in bullet. So you can imagine how City, how strong this kid is. So yeah, I always, me and Ruxaps in our team, and the rest of the gang, we always encourage him to go for mastery, because he obviously has all the ability and the quality to be a master in chess. I don't see any reason why he can't be. I mean, and yeah. So let's check out this game. And this game, City is playing with white against LM Lance. And if you are a player on, sorry about that, a player on leadchess.org, you will probably know about LM Lance, and he's a well-known player, master. He's a well-known master there on lead chess, and LM goes for lead chess master. So and as you can see, his rating around 2600, while CT is 1900. So that's like 700 points above his rating, and already playing master. So yeah, one hell of a master here we have in Lance, and LM Lance, and he's playing with black. So let's check out this very beautiful game. And yes, in that fact, before I also start this game, as my friend recommended me and advised me to do it in my channel, and as I said in my previous video, I won't just be showing the game. I will go into analyzing the lines and variation in the opening that has been played in the game. So and I really love studying openings and lines, and that will give an opportunity for all of us to learn from the lines and variation, and learn some theories behind our repertoire. Okay, so yeah, so let's check out this game. So City is playing with white, and who opens with d4, and we have knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4. So and black castle. So for now we have the king Indian defense on the board, And this is all theory for now. From here you can go with so many lines. You can go to knight f3, you can go to knight f2, try to push in early f4, and or you can go to bishop to d3. I mean, so many lines here. You can continue this as white. And actually, and in King Indian, you actually wait to see how you kind of wait to see how white played this his opening, and later try to figure out how to undermine him. But the general idea of the King Indian defense is you want to have this king side attack. So, and white will try to defend his king side, and at the same time trying to have some counterplay in the center and queen side. So let's see this how it goes. And here we have bishop to e3, and this bishop e3 personally I don't like this line in the queen's pawn against the King Indian defense. And as you may all know, I will study a lot of openings. I'm kind of opening specialist. I know a lot of openings, and I know a lot of theories. I study them. I study a lot, but I just suck some middle games and end game. I'm trying to be better in those. But when it comes at opening, I can do pretty well. So so yeah, we have this e3 bishop e3, and I don't really like this continuation from white, and you will see why. And here we have d6, and this d6, of course, this is typical Indian move. Of course, you open up this bishop on your this diagonal for your bishop, and also this knight can comes to g4. So now for me personally, I would recommend for in this matter, I always played in this matter h3. But to prevent for this, if I played bishop to e3, or to play f3 in this matter, and in this way, when you play f3, for example, you will also be having control on this g4 square, but also this bishop can come here and help with the defense when actually black start his king side attack. Because I can understand some people don't like to play h3 here, because if you are familiar with the King Indian defense, the light square bishop of from black actually is the last piece he want to develop. And most often when the pawn stone happens here from king side from black, most often black try to sack his sorry, no, not here, try to sack his bishop here on h3 to try to open up the king's center. So I can understand why not so many people like to play h3 in this variation. But I mean, when you play this bishop to e3, you need to protect it, especially when black play this d6 natural move from the King's Indian. But here City, for some reason, even so he played this e3 move, the bishop to e3 move, he didn't protect this g4 square, and I find it quite odd for him to neglect this very positional a move for him. And instead here he played the Larsen variation. The Larsen variation, which is knight to f3. And of course, if you know chess, or if you don't know chess, you have to know Dr. Larsen. And if you are watching Agad Mator channel and following the Capablanca saga, you will know who Dr. Larsen is. He actually beat Kaba in several times in this in World Championship. So yeah, definitely a grandmaster that you want to study his theories and all that stuff. So we have knight to f3, the Larsen variation against the King's Indian. But here simply black goes for the knight to g4 and harassing this bishop. And yeah, I mean, we are not Larson to know how to continue this, but actually there is a way for black to try to prevent here, because here if knight capture the bishop first, you will lose the bishop pair in the opening, which is we are uh, only on move 6, you know, so you losing the bishop pairs in this early opening is not it's not something that you are looking forward to. And also by losing this bishop here, let's say for example the knight captured the bishop and the pawn captured on e3, so that will leave this very weak square on f2. And you are playing against the king Indian defense, where the black want to have this king side attack. You don't want to have any weaknesses around your king. And here there is a line that for black to try to prevent all this, to actually goes for bishop for g5, and to pinning to pin this e7 pawn. And of course you can't push, because in the king Indian defense, sooner or later black will try to bust up the center with this move to e5. So he's trying to he will try to play this, and by playing this bishop here, of course you are delaying this e5 move from black. So and actually pinning the queen, and the queen can't have so many squares to be developed at. I mean, you don't want to develop it here and try to block the queen, so it will be a problem. So you will have to kick this bishop out, and this is very powerful bishop on e5. So by playing this bishop to g5, and you can play this I mean, you can play it, but will be weakening your king side, your light square bishop. If your light squares around your king, if you try to kick this bishop with f6, because white still has this light square bishop that can jump to c4 in the future, or even the queen can come to b3 and have this queen bishop battery x-raying the king. So not something you want to do here with the black pieces. Instead, the only option here for you to try to kick out this very powerful bishop on g4 is to play to push h6. And when you play to h6, you simply retreat your bishop to h4. And if keeping this pressure here on e7, and if black to continue from h6 and then g4, then the bishop can comes to g3, and from g3 he can have this diagonal and protecting e5, and not just protecting e5 that black trying to push here, but also it will be a very powerful defensive piece to defend the squares around the white kings, especially since black try to play or will play on the king side, playing the king Indian defense. So yeah, as I said, you will need to bear with me if you want to watch from now on the videos, because I will dive into deep analyzation from the games, as I said, for all of us to know the theories. All right, so let me just have a sip from my Arsenal cup. Arsenal won on United 2-0, by the way. You know, so yeah, all the Man United drags. This one is for you. So yeah, let's continue from here. And for some reason, City they didn't go for this, and I'm kind of surprised. And you know me, all my friends know me. And if you are playing good, even if you are my friend, I won't spoil you. If you are playing good, I'll tell you you are playing good. If you play the good move, I will tell you, okay, this is good move, well done. If you played bad move, I will tell you this is bad move, and don't do it again, because there is no way for you to learn if I just want to spoil you and yeah, tell you yeah, everything is good, everything is fine, while in fact it's not. So So yeah, I have to be honest here. This is not a good move because here actually white played bishop to e2, and this is actually bad move because here black actually captured the bishop, and now white captured with the pawn, captured the knight back with the pawn on e3, and this will leave this pawn on e3 really weak pawn, and white will try to defend it all the game, and this is real problem. And here white actually lost the advantage, and yeah, so hope you guys you're learning from this. So anyway, from here on, black can goes for so many lines. He can goes for as the engine recommends. Go for c5. Try to bust up the center in this way, you know, because white already have this very powerful center, and this is the idea behind any hyper modern variation from black. You go for rapid development in the beginning, and king safety first. You build the fortress around your king by flank or your bishop, and then later try to undermine white's center. I mean, you give the center in the early stage of the opening for white. You tell him, okay, you can have the center now, but I will have the rapid development. I will castle my king. As you can see, the black king already castled, already safe, while white king is still in the center, and then later I will undermine your center and break you up. So this is the idea of the hyper modern of all the hyper modern variation openings, such as the king Indian defense, the Perk defense, or just the modern defense where bishop to g7. But anyway, so here, as I said, you have two options. First, you can bust up the center with this move to c5, or you can play immediately goes for e5, and yeah. So here LM Lance try to choose the e5, the immediate e5, and by the way here, you don't always need to follow the engine. Engines line are okay for engine users, like but we are not engines, we are a human, and most of the engine moves really we don't have the full understanding of the continuation of the moves. I mean, you can find you can say, oh, okay, well, this is the best move, I will play this and I will learn to play this, but what comes after it is not in your control, because there are so many variations. So it's not always the best to play the engine recommended moves, but to try to study your opening more and more in depth. So here white castles, and here of course white can't capture the pawn here. And even if it's, by the way, this is a big example of the idea I'm telling you about, not always to follow the engine move, because here if you capture the pawn first, and white captures back and black captures back, so he will have this control of the e5, and there is no way for you to try to break this very critical square of the e5. And also at the same time you will lose some of your power on the center, and at the same time also this will open up the intensity for intensity between the queens, and it's not good for you to trade the queens if the center is open up here, because let's say, give me examples. Let's say if white trade captures, black captures back, you trade the queens, of course the rook comes here, and it will have this, black will have full control of the d file with his rook, and you will definitely lose any sort of advantage here, try to as white, and when you are playing white, you always want to push for a win, because you are playing white and you already start your game with an advantage. So it will be like very passive from you not to do so, even if you are playing against master or whatever, you know. So yeah, even if the engine recommend to capture here, we don't really recommend for white to capture in this position. So here instead white castles and knight to c6, and knight to c6 here has so many ideas. First, as you see, this is really common move in any hypermodern variation as well. Here, actually, black is trying to provoke white to play to push for d5, and the idea here, of course, when white try to push d5 to attack the knight with the tempo, then the knight will comes with will maneuver to e7, and you may think that black lost a tempo, but in fact he didn't, because this is his idea. The black planned in the king Indian defense to come for this, to maneuver his knight from from c6 to e7, and from e7 he will try to push for f5, and from the knight on e7 he will be supporting e5 f5, you know. So he will have the bishop and the knight and the rook supporting f5. As I said earlier in this video, in the king Indian defense, as you can see this how the pawns are coming. So this is always black try almost always black try to have a pawn storm attack, and with his all these pieces come to attack king side, while white try to defend the king side and try to have some counter side in the center and in the queen side. So this is this is black idea, very simple, but not easy to do it on the board, of course. So here here I mean here white didn't push e5 d5, and he played queen to d2. Now queen to d2 is just simple development, developing the queen, connecting rooks, and also adding protection to this weak e3 pawn. So and this is not just weak pawn, this is a backward pawn, by the way. So this make it double weak. So you need to understand that if you are new to chess or a beginner or whatever, yeah, this is a good example of backward weak pawns. So that's why it wasn't good for white to allow this trade on on e3. So so yeah, here he play queen d2 and try to defend this pawn and also developing the queen, but this is actually a bad move, because in the king Indian defense there is also some position that if the center is kind of close, not immediately, because now white can still capture on e5, but but if the center is close, the bishop actually can come here to h6, and you see this a lot often in the king Indian defense, and to try to control this diagonal, and also at the same time this will prevent the rook to come to c1 and dominate this fight, because when you play against the king Indian defense, the key idea most often the rook will come to c1, and this is black weak spot, you know. This is kind of strategy for strategy. I mean, I'm talking strategies now, you know, because chess is not always tactics, it's also strategy, especially in the opening. So in this case, in this opening and in this variation, this c7 square is a weak spot in black setup. So usually the rook comes to c1 and try to have this diagonal open, And I mean, of course, you will have to exchange some materials here or whatever, but in the long run, always in the future, I'm talking, and controls it, and try to attack this c7 square, and have some counterplay here on the queen side. So yeah, by playing this bishop on on h6, it will have full control of this diagonal, and also this control on the c1, where preventing the rook to come here. So a lot of ideas here, strategically and positional wise here to be aware of if you are playing against the King Indian defense, or if you are playing the King Indian defense yourself, both cases. And this queen to d2 is not a good move from c2. And I mean, here the engine recommend to play h3, and I can understand why here h3, but also I understand not why not playing this h3, because as I said earlier, often this white bishop try to exchange here, yeah, sack his bishop here on h3. And I mean, in the future, when black try to have this king side, but here actually is a good move, because because white here, black here played bishop to g4, and by playing bishop to g4, he want to trade it with his knight on f3, because this knight on f3 actually defend this, putting pressure here on e5, and the knight will eventually need to go to, as planned, as talked earlier, need to go to e7. So that will leave, and the f pawn will goes to immediately, it goes to f5. So that will leave the e5 pawn kind of weak for black. So black try to will try to trade this bishop with one of the defenders of the, actually the only defender of this, or in this case the only attacker of this e5 square. So and here the center, white decided to close the center, because now if he trades, I mean, okay, that's okay with him, because that's okay with white, because now white clearly doesn't want to trade here, to exchange here and open up the center. So here, also an idea about this move to queen to d2. Maybe also the idea is to come for rook to d1, and when exchanging this pawn, white can have this battery, and maybe try to trade some pieces, especially if the knight here comes to e7, so this knight won't be able to defend the queen, and if the center is open here, so now white can actually trade the queens here, and if the rook take backs, and you have the rook here on a1, so the rook can take back, and that comes with a check, and black will be losing the exchange. So a lot of things to know and learn, as I said, in this variation, and in this variation, and also on the other hand here, CT also, I think I didn't talk with CT, by the way. I didn't analyze this game with CT, but I'm just analyzing. I'm by myself and with you guys, and and now maybe if you did to this position, white here push d5, and now the knight actually can come here to d4, and try to have some pressure here on the on f3, because of this pawn. So maybe also that was the city idea, no? You know, not to prevent this knight to come here, because if this pawn wasn't here, um, so maybe the knight can come here actually, and you can trade here. If you trade the knight here, so the pawn can come here, and I mean, I still don't see it as a good plan for black, because this will be an isolated pawn here, even if it's protected by the bishop. But I don't think it's good for black to play this knight here, and after trading knights, the pawn come to the e4. You know, having some spaces here, attacking the knight, because the knight can come here and actually maybe try to attack, but yet again, black can also can push for c5. So I mean, maybe this is idea, who knows. But of course, you can have this bishop here and also try to maybe trade it with the bishop, you know. You never know. But this one is totally weak one nevertheless. Okay, so here we have knight to b8. And by the way, this knight to b8 after pushing d5, this is the best move recommended by the agent. But again, I don't recommend this move b8, and I will tell you why. The idea here for black is now black wanted to play on both sides of the board, and you will see how he will do this. Here here black want to push c5, and want to push c5, or in this matter the knight will want to come to d7 and come here to c5. So from here the knight will have control of will have some control of these squares, you know. And and uh, and of course you can support it here by playing the a5, but I mean, if you want to play this variation, this line, actually it's not good for you to try to trade to try to trade the bishop with the knight, because here after trading the bishop can come to f3, and from f3 he can be another defender here for the e4 square, and the knight can never capture here, you know. But anyway, and it's better if black goes from here to from c5 to e7 and continue his normal plan. But I mean, LM is a master and he can always play on the both sides of the board. But we are not masters, and I don't advise this to play on both sides of the board, because it's better to focus on one side on the board, you know. You are attacking both sides and you are not master level, so it will be really hard for us unless you are master. So be my guest. Anyway, here white played b4 and taking this this crucial square, you know, from black, and and problem solved, you know. Black has nothing here. He has a passive knight on b8, and this is really good move. And if I was playing white, I would play the same here. b4 is a very good move. It's a strong move actually. Not only taking the square for the knight, but also preventing c5 from coming here. And if black goes for c5, I mean, you can push here. You can push b5 and totally closing the any other route for black knight to come to, you know. So so yeah, so yeah, good move. So here so here black actually tried to take this b4 pawn, but here simply white protected with e3. So and of course you can't capture the pawn now. If you capture, then the black captured the rook here on a1, but then the other rook come to a1, and it will be white who will have full control on the a file. So not a good variation to go for as black here. So you need to stop your queenside ideas for now as black. So anyway, black tried to do something with his knight here and passively go to d7, and this is very passive knight on d7. But anyway, anyway. So now h3, asking this white bishop what you want to this light square bishop, what you want to do. You want to capture, you want to go back. Of course you can't go back because all the squares are taken. It's not, and you can't go here because white can trap your bishop. I mean, you can exchange, but it's up to you anyway. So white captures back, and we have this bishop to h6. You know, having this pinning this pawn, and having as I mentioned earlier, control of this diagonal, and we have queen to e2 on pinning, and queen to g5, and this is this is mean, nasty move from black. Yeah, because now we hear white black of course wanted to attack. As I said, this weak pawn is, it will always be a weak pawn, and it will always be a target for the entire game. And white tried to attack it earlier here, and here the engine gives recommend rook a to e1, and but personally again I don't recommend this rook a to e1, because now if you play this move here, actually white played king to f2, and this is better because now, because if instead you play this rook a to e1, this will allow actually to black to come and capture, and if you capture back, then you will have this rook this time actually black will have the full control on the a file, and this rook will be coming to infiltrate white position. So unless you are engine, don't always use engine's move. Instead here white play this really nice defensive move, king to f2, and this not just protecting the weak e3 pawn, but also this will have this escaping route for the king in case something happen here, and you know, and if you play this rook instead, then your king will be stuck here. There is no escape route for your king. So this is more natural human move, which I find it better here. So finally, black pushes f5 as the plan. I mean, and yeah. But of course here the knight, this is a different case, because the knight here is not on e7 to try to support here and try to join the game, and you will know why here the knight on e7 would have been much better, because now white is forced to capture the pawn on f5. Because if you don't capture the pawn, then you will have then f5 f4 is coming, and f4 now you'll have attacking this e3 pawn, and you have the queen attacking, and you have this bishop on h6 I mean h6. Obviously there is something happening in my in my dirty mind. You have this bishop on h6, sorry, and f4 is coming, and it will come really tough position for white to handle. So you have to capture here on f5. So and white did capture, and black capture with the pawn. And here, if you have your knight on e7, actually the knight can come here and join the attack and support this more and more, this f4 you know. But anyway, so what you do here as white, well, you need to push e5 yourself. And this is a very basic in principle idea in chess. If you have a backward weak pawn, you need to push it. If you push it, the better. And by pushing this e4, this e3 pawn, you actually make it. You get rid of your weakness. You know. So if you have a backward weak pawn, try to push it if you can. Which in this scenario white did, and it's actually a good move. And here, I mean, black can go here immediately for f4, and after f4, it will take the square for his king to go, and he will be threatening here to come to queen to g3, and the king will start to run or something. And I mean, I'm not sure how white will react to f4, because you can see this very powerful pawn chain, and it will be very hard for white to deal with this. But instead, for some reason here, black decided to capture the pawn on on b4, and you will see the idea behind this. So white here captured the pawn, and this is I mean, this is not a mistake. I mean, this is positional mistake, I think. But I mean, you don't have not a lot of options to do here as white. I mean, if you don't capture, what else you can do? And you always you need to protect this c5 square, not allowing this knight to enter the game queen side, because if you already under a lot of pressure king side, and if you allow black to have some counterplay also on the queen side, so you will be squeezed here, and it will be totally over for you as white. So white captures, and that's actually a bad move from black. Black actually here, he should have traded rooks on the a file, and or if you don't want to trade rooks, you can try to play something else. But here, you can try to play. For example, f4, or as I said, trading rooks, and by trading rooks here, and the rook comes to f1. Okay, you may say, but here white will have sorry about that, will have control of the a file. But that actually not the case, because here this rook is doing a great job defending. You need this rook here. You need to have your rook here on the king side to try to defend. You can bring your rook to the a file, and if you bring your rook to the a file, then the other rook will come to the a file and occupy the a file. It was better for black to trade rooks here. But anyway, this queen to d2 move, actually, this is not a good move, and you will see. But black has an idea for this. Here, first, white captured the rook on a8, and this is actually a bad move, because now black controlled the a5 with his rook, and now white captured the queen, and this is a bad move from white, because I mean, this is two bad moves from white, because first, capturing the rook and allowing black to have full control of the a file, and second, you actually allow black to go for his idea, and his idea is now black captured the queen, and now he's threatening this knight and this pawn, and that was the whole idea behind black queen to d2. I mean, if you didn't capture here the rook, and and for instead you traded queen here, and the bishop comes to d2 and try to attack this knight and the pawn. Actually, this plan doesn't work for black, because white has have a defensive move here, which is actually simply knight to a2. You know, everything's good, everything's fine. You know, protecting this b2 this b4 pawn, and of course black can't capture with the knight because the knight is defended from the rook. So, and if black for some reason decided to capture the knight, he will be down the exchange, and this bishop will be very silly, doing nothing on d2, and you will always can kick it away with either king to e2 or rook to d1 in this matter. So yeah, some tactical inaccuracies or mistakes from white, from both sides, to be honest. So yeah, here capture, and this will allow, as I said, the black to have this the opportunity to play his plan, and now there is no defense. You get there is no way to defend both, and you will lose this very important b4 pawn. So here we have white try to defend it actively, try to do something, because here if white didn't try to do something, he would be crushed soon. So so knight to b5 and try to attack this ever weak pawn on c7. As I said earlier, this is this is the weakest spot on the king's Indian defense. So try to attack it. He said, okay, we'll grab the pawn on b4, and now we'll grab the pawn on c5, but actually on c7. But actually, you will see. So black captured on b4, but here white didn't capture the pawn on c7. Instead, he tried to play something. He tried for a creative idea, as as his name suggests. He always tried to play some creative chess. So I think City knew in this position that theoretically he is lost. His position is lost, and black is definitely better here. So he tried one more chance to try to do something and save his game. He didn't capture the pawn on c5, and instead he captured the pawn on e5, and you will see the idea behind it here. And here black goes for rook to e2. That comes with a check. King to g3. The king trying to be more active here, and this was the biggest blunder in this game from black. Here black played knight to c5, and this is actually a big blunder. Why this is blunder? Because the knight here on c5 was actually preventing white from pushing f6, and if white push f6, you can't allow white to push f6. If white push f6, then your game is 80% is over for you, because this is very powerful passed pawn. You will allow black to white to have this powerful black passed pawn, and this passive knight that was actually all what I mean. You knight sit there, don't do nothing in the entire game. Just please in the end game, please just control the f6 square. But no, finally this passive knight decided to enter the game, and maybe black thought, okay, I have some mate here and I can do something and I can end this game quickly. But he was wrong, as white will prove him that he was totally wrong, because now white actually captured the pawn on C7, and here black pushes e4, and this is actually not a good move, because simply here bishop goes for h5, and with this h5 he controls more squares around the kings of the black king, of course, and you have this powerful pawn coming, and you have also this knight controlling those squares. So you can see here the black king is somehow trying somehow start to get a little bit feeling uncomfortable, and by the way, the engine here gives recommend the white to go bishop to d1, but I don't want to analyze this line, because I mean, I'm not really sure why. Maybe to prevent the knight to come here, but I don't know. I don't want to analyze endgame now that much, that deep, you know. Also, I'm not very good at analyzing endgames. I'm kind of sucks at endgames as well, and I'm trying to learn. So anyway, uh, and here actually that was the only hope for black to try to do something, and he did this really big blunder, by another blunder, by playing knight to d3, and I have no idea why this knight to d3. What does this knight to d3 do? Maybe he want to come to e5 and protect this. I'm not sure, but here actually white pushes f6, and there's no other way for black to try to prevent this f f pawn to be queening, and it was in this position actually black resigned the game. Here the computer gives a white plus 5.5, so you can imagine, because here even if the knight comes to, this is miscalculation from black, because here even if black jump his knight to d5, try to protect the white, try to prevent white from queening, but here actually white can push f5, f7, and when he does, even if the knight captures, then this rook here can capture, or the bishop can capture, and that comes with the check, and this rook and this file will be open for the rook, and you already have this knight ready to jump here, and also so you will have the bishop, the knight, and the rook. All of them are attacking the king, and the black will have no time to try to have some counterplay, or to try to defend, and black will be a piece down, because giving up your knight is the only way for black to try to prevent white from queening. You know, you need to play the knight to e5, and even when you does, again, as I said, you will be losing your knight, so you will be down in material, and at the same time you will be having so much trouble defending your king, because all white pieces will be attacking your king. So this is totally lost for black, and this is a very big blunder from LM Lance. So yeah, a very instructive and game, and this is show you that even if you are in theoretically losing position, never stop fighting. You know, fight till the end. You never know what your opponent play, and how chances can came up, and you always need to think outside the box. You know, like creative thinking did here. I mean, he had this very little hope to try to try to do something. You know, and instead of going for material here and capturing the pawn on c7, he captured the pawn on f5, and this show you why I said earlier. Uh, I mean, for you not to play on both sides of the board, like attacking on both sides of the board is not good. Try to focus on one side, because as you can see here, even master level 2600, because he started his attack on the king side and then he switched it for the queen side. You know, you have some with materials here. I mean, look to your bishop. The bishop supposedly was on g7 and then now is on b4. I mean, what the hell your bishop is doing on b4, you know? So you have this imbalance between your and when you are playing the king Indian defense, you know you don't have the enough pawns, or you will not have enough pawns around your king to try to defend it. Any mistake you will lose it, because your king, you will be exposed and naked there, because the king Indian defense always have this pawn storm attacking the king side, you know. So you started your attack with the king side as black. You lost all your pawns there. At the same time, okay, you switch your attack to the queen side. Okay, this is the disadvantage in this strategic planning, you know. So you switch your sorry about that. You switch your attack to the queen side, and now the white have all his attacking pieces around your naked king, and you're totally lost, you know. So yeah, congratulations City on this really instructive game, and it was a pleasure for me to analyze. And I do apologize for this long video, but I mean, as I said, I will not do like my previous video, just showing the games and couple of moves. No, I will try to dive deep into this, into the variation and the strategic planning, the tactics, what you can do, what you cannot do. I mean, of course, I might miss some tactics here, like earlier queen from black queen to come to d4, checking the king, why the king was here. But I mean, I won't analyze everything, but I will analyze most of them and the most important ideas here. So yeah, congratulations again, CT, and for everyone who has. Hope you like this video, and feel free, as I said, to follow CT profile, and you know, follow him, be a friend with him, and try to ask him a question. And if you want to analyze this game as well, um, yeah. So hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and thank you all for watching, and thank you all for staying with me till the end of this video. And yeah, I will see you soon with another exciting content. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.